So everyone is talking about Invincible right now, and the biggest topic of discussion has to be who is more so in the right, Invincible or Cecil? Well, let's find out. Let me explain. They are both on the same side. However, they have extremely different beliefs on how to best manage this crazy superpowered world. If you take a deep dive at their thoughts and actions, it'll become clear that one of them is clearly in the right. Now, before we can determine on who's right and who's wrong, it really comes down to why are they at odds anyway? They should be on the same side, but something is keeping them apart. Well, it's actually quite a few things. Starting off with the fact that Cecil has known Mark and his family for years, but after the attack on Chicago and the rest of the world by Omni-Man, it makes sense why his trust quickly faded on any Viltrumite. And even though Mark actively fought against his own father during that event and has always been open about his beliefs with full transparency, Cecil isn't someone who lets his own personal connections guide his work. So he has taken many safeguards against Invincible and other Viltrumites. But of course, this will always rub Invincible the wrong way. I mean, imagine being a hero, putting not only your life on the line, but your family and friends as well, just to find out the person that you look up to and are actually working for doesn't trust you in the slightest. In a way, this kind of feels like a betrayal, which is a lot considering Mark's own father had just betrayed him in a major way not too long ago. So clearly he's going through a lot of things. And Invincible is a hero who wants Cecil and other heroes to put 100% of trust into him, yet the rest of the world is really hesitant to trust Invincible, even though he has proven time and time again that he is on the side of humanity. See, in this type of world, being a hero is pretty rough. You can save the world 1,000 times, but you can even make one mistake and it not even really be your fault. And now the blame is on you, eyes are on you, and tensions rise. So it's hard for Invincible. It seems like every 3 months. I mean, every day there's like a new world-ending event, and he always stops it. But it seems like there's that one time where he always makes a mistake, or something happens that he can't prevent, and everybody puts the blame on him. It has to be pretty rough. But that actually brings me to my next point. Even though Mark is on the side of humanity, we see how stubborn he can be when it comes to his own ideology. I mean, Cecil was big on the greater good above all else. Now, this sounds like a good thing, but in hindsight, this could very much hurt him in the end. We see Cecil team up with former villains like Dr. Sinclair and even rogue vigilantes like Darkwing who have secretive pasts. Cecil believes these people and their gifts can and should be used to benefit society going forward, even though they've done things that are pretty much unforgivable, which is why he has Sinclair working for the government with his Reaniman and Darkwing as a member of the Guardians of the Globe. Of course, Mark has firsthand experience of how evil both of these men can be and the atrocities they committed. So he has his own bias towards it and his own perspective. And even acknowledges that, yes, their work can be good, but they still should pay for their crimes. And what's preventing them from committing evil acts in the future? And this is which is a very fair point because if you keep giving these villains opportunities, eventually this is going to backfire and the damage may be too great. However, at the same time, Caesar's point is still valid. I mean, if their work can be used to make the world a better place in the long run, it might be worth the price. Now, before we get to my last 2 points, the last point going to be actually the driving force as to why the one person is right above the other. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It really helps the channel. And not only that, just go ahead and comment down below future ideas or even just commentary or just what you think about the channel. Everything gets read, everything gets appreciated, and I appreciate you for watching this video. Now let's get back to Invincible. Now, something else that we have to consider is the fact of the type of world they live in. The comic book world of Invincible may be one of the most dangerous societies in all of fiction. I mean, there is literally a world ending threat every day, like I mentioned. And not only is this lingering threat of the Viltrumite Empire a problem, but on Earth there are so many different villains and evil groups on a daily, it's hard to keep track. And that's not even to mention the alternate worlds and other dimensions and alien races and monsters underground that the Earth has to deal with. So clearly, Cecil and the rest of the Guardians have their hands full. And with all this chaos, unpredictable battles, it makes sense why Cecil will want to have every advantage that he can in his arsenal to combat any enemy. The quote Cecil actually lives by is that you can be the good guy or you can be the guy that saves the world, but you can't be both. And that single quote pretty much drives every action that he takes. Now, on the other hand, Mark is the type of hero that this world does need. He's made mistakes and accidentally killed before, but at the end of the day, Invincible has a hard moral compass that is overlooked in his bleak society. In a world where evil is so prominent, the heroes are committing terrible acts, and the villains are being forgiven for their crimes, it's great to have a hero as powerful as Invincible who's willing to take the moral high ground above all else. Now, sure, this isn't the most logical position, and yes, it may even cost lives in the process, but so does Cecil's solution. And if you plan to build a society who applauds and uplifts those who commits evil acts, also distrusting and hating your heroes, you're helping build a society that's destined to be destroyed. And with all that, it brings me to my final decision. So who's right, Mark or Invincible? Well, I think it's going to surprise you. Before I get straight to the answer, now think about it. Yes, what Cecil is doing can benefit society, and what Mark is also doing can benefit society as well. And he carries a lot of delivery and emotion that can impact what he's saying. But in the end, he's always doing the morally right thing. Cecil's whole ideology of using every tool to benefit society is a future problem just waiting to happen. And it's really no different than what the Viltrumites plan to do with a planetary siege. I mean, if you think about it, Cecil and the world governments are fine with employing terrorists, monsters, diabolical villains for the greater good, taking away freedom and rights, but are fighting against the Viltrum Empire, who plans to do the exact same thing, but improve the quality of the Earth. I mean, the Viltrumites don't plan to destroy the Earth. They plan to live amongst humanity and make Earth their new home, and even breed with humans to build a new and stronger Earth and Viltrum. Now, isn't this exactly what Cecil was doing by creating Reaniman, letting villains join the Guardians? Now, like I said, Cecil does live by his own quote, and that quote does apply for him since he is just a government official who is pretty much just a normal person without superpowers. But for someone like Invincible, as long as he has the right team and support around him, this quote doesn't really apply, especially with some of the knowledge of what I know happens later in the series. Mark's ideology might seem childish and unrealistic, but I believe that's exactly what this world needs. And in the grand scheme of things, I think Mark is right. This is exactly how the world should operate. And if Cecil and Mark can learn to work together with trust towards a proper goal, then the world can truly progress towards peace. So overall, I believe that Mark's understanding of the world and Mark's perspective is the way things should go. Yes, there's going to be a lot of hardship. There's probably going to be a lot of casualties and a lot of trauma, but that's the reality anyway. Whether you go from Mark's side, Cecil's side, or maybe even some third party out there, there's always going to be some type of loss. That's just the type of world they live in Invincible. But I feel like if they learn to do things Mark's way and kind of live the lifestyle that he's choosing to go for to Earth, I feel like he can give the heroes of Earth a whole new perspective and actually help make the world a better place in the long run. But there's only one way to find out. So let's see where the rest of Invincible goes. But again, my name is Keith, and thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and leave here with something. So go ahead and comment down below who's your favorite character in Invincible. Personally, mine has to be Robot. He's a pretty cool character, not gonna lie. But I want to know who your favorite character is. So go ahead and comment down below, and thanks for watching.